We get a replay of the 1954 Grand Final. The Dogs demolish the Power in their own backyard and the Demons deliver a masterclass over the Cats. All that and more to come from the final so far, brought to you by AAMI. But Kane Corns, we've got to start with the Dogs, a team you wrote off 3 weeks ago. After missing the top four, is into the Grand Final.
It's amazing, isn't it? I did write them off. I didn't think anyone was going to be able to win it outside the top four with the new finals format and the way that they capitulated really in the last 3 rounds of the season, and in particular against Port Adelaide in round 23. I thought they'd cost themselves. I didn't bank on them being able to galvanise themselves with the injury, with the travel, with the challenges that they face to produce a performance like that tonight. 2016 was a marvel. It was amazing. It was like nothing I've ever seen. If they win it this year, that's better. Like, I thought Melbourne's performance was as good an individual performance from any team as I've seen this year. That was better tonight. They blew Port Adelaide away, who had everything to play for and everything was set up for the Power, and the Western Bulldogs made them look absolutely second rate. So all you can do is just say to Luke Beveridge and the Western Bulldogs group, an amazing effort and well done.
They've been in 5 states in the last 14 days. Now they'll go back to Perth, quarantine for a period before playing the Demons in the Grand Final. They smashed the Power all over the ground. We want to show some ground balls in the forward half, Kane. This is where they blew the Power off the park.
Port Adelaide couldn't win a contest, so the Western Bulldogs were just so much hungrier. They were harder. They were more intense around the football. They were clean, and that's what you need to be. You need to be a hard and hungry group, and I'm not sure why Port Adelaide didn't turn up tonight. I didn't see it coming. You're seeing Ken Hinkley there. He's thinking exactly the same thing. But Jonas there off Johannesson, I mean, what is he flying for? If you go, you got to go. The amount of times they did that, once again here, handballs over the head to no one. They fumbled. Burton doesn't go for the footy. And it cost you goals again. Outmarked. There was 4 or 5 contested marks that the Bulldogs took in their forward 50 in the first 20 minutes of the game. It was a completely un-Port Adelaide-like performance tonight, and the fallout for them is going to be significant, which we can get to. But the positive story out of it was that the Western Bulldogs played some of the best football you have ever seen with everything going against them. So it sets up an amazing grand final. These are the first quarter numbers, plus 23 in contested. We knew Port Adelaide win the contested footy. They don't lose. 17-0 this year. Well, the Western Bulldogs in 1 quarter, plus 23. The clearance is there, set up. Stephen Martin starting there. What a selection gamble that paid off. The inside 50s, Port Adelaide's defence was under the pump. Contested marks I touched on, and plus 37, game over at quarter time.
And the Power conceded 64 points from turnover in the first half. They'd only conceded 2 bigger scores from turnover entire games this year, Kane. That was 69 points. Just shows how much the Dog put them to the sword when they got the ball on the rebound. We wanted to highlight a couple though. Bailey Smith kicked 4 goals for the game. Here's 2, direct opponent, Darcy Byrne-Jones.
He's an All-Australian. He's the best and fairest winner, Darcy Byrne-Jones. So Port Adelaide wanted to manufacture the free behind the ball, but what Luke Beveridge said is that's fine. You can drop off Bailey Smith like Byrne-Jones has done here, but this young kid's in red-hot form. So you drop off and you don't impact like Byrne-Jones doesn't there. He's going to make you pay. 3 goals and 29 last week, another 4 goals and the match winner again tonight. He's 20 years of age. Last week I said he's going to be the new face of the AFL.
Yeah.
Well, he's done it again in a big preliminary final at 20 years of age. Hasn't missed a game since he made a debut. This is why the draft is so important and how young players can give you so much energy in your group. Port Adelaide out-coached, outclassed tonight. Luke Beveridge came with a plan. He didn't let Aaliyah free. He dragged him back to the goal square with Tim English. Bailey Smith comes up as that high half forward. They dropped off him. Bang, he kicks 4 goals. There's the game.
Josh Shackey also important in limiting Aaliyah's performance. Mitch Hannon kicked 3 of his own. Aaron Norton 6 contested marks. The big story leading in was the skipper, Marcus Bontempelli. He was super and showed no signs of that knee injury, Kane.
He was super, so he just did what he needed to do, didn't he? Spent the last 12 minutes on the bench, so they got him some rest in the end, but 20 disposals. Kicks this goal here because Miles Bergman didn't want to play on what is the best player in the game and let him free. He had the first kick of the game, Bontempelli, and it was all smooth sailing for him. He didn't need to do a lot because Treloar was better. Seeing Hunter here and his ball use, their midfield, McRae, once again had massive numbers, but that's where he's so destructive. Centre forward. So he touches the footy centre forward. Good night. And then the defensive efforts that you've seen there. And this, just little things. Like this is captain sort of stuff that we saw from Max Gawn That's how much it meant to them. Little things add up to big things. And look, get the footy centre forward and he will make you pay, as I said. So amazing for him to get through. And the week off, I mean, beautifully set up for the Western Bulldogs now. Yeah, there's been a lot of travel. Now it doesn't look so daunting when you get a week off. Alex Keith to come back in probably with that extra week and Bontempelli refreshed and ready to go, a run into Stephen Martin. Yeah, it makes it interesting in a couple of weeks' time.
And they had the luxury of resting Bont for the last 12 minutes. Such was the margin in the game. Adam Treloar, you were one of the voices during the week, heavily critical of his performance and his body language last week. He responded tonight, Kane, a game-high 13 score involvements.
And we're all glad that he did. I mean, we all think this is a fairy tale story, but last week his performance wasn't good enough in a final and his body language wasn't good enough. So what you do is you highlight that. And he would have, been equally as disappointed as anyone in the media, and probably a lot more so, some of the efforts that he actually gave up last week. So to see him respond like that is what good players do, and we know he's a really good player. Thought he had some zip back. Granted, there wasn't a whole lot of pressure from Port Adelaide, and they did let him run and carry and stand all alone inside 50, where he's always going to make you pay. But we're all barracking for the Adam Treloar story. Don't worry about that. But we're not doing our job if we don't call out what was some pretty ordinary body language from him last week, but clearly he's much better tonight. And
his coach was quick to defend his recruit post-game, and I think this may have been directed at you, among others.
And even, I was so happy tonight for some of the ridiculous commentary and insinuations around Adam was just so distasteful from people. Like, if you're going to fail at something, don't fail at trying to pull people down. I just don't know how people can, sleep next to people like that when they're so vindictive. And that was nasty. I was so happy to see him play well tonight.
What do you make of that?
Yeah, I'm not sure it was nasty. I think it was just highlighting what was, some body language that was questionable at times. Now, I'm not sure if that was directed at me. If it was, he probably should name the person that he's directing the criticism at and be brave enough to do that. But as I said, we're all wrapped for Adam Treloar. He's come a long way back from any thought that he would win a flag this year, and the injuries and the struggle to get himself back into the side. So showed tonight how important he is, and none more happier than me for him.
Just on the selection, so Alex Keith looks like he'll be set to go next week. They'll get Cody Waitman, in a fortnight. Cody Waitman back from concussion as well. Latham Vandermeer was subbed out with hamstring tightness tonight. Where are you seeing the changes? Because you think it's one of Cordy or Gardner for Keith, and then maybe Vandermeer if he doesn't come up, or is it Johannesson for Cody Waitman?
Yeah, so I think both play. Keith for Cordy is the way I would go. I'd put Johannesson back as the medical sub, and I'd play Cody Waitman. But it's not going to be, any of those decisions aren't going to be easy. It's a really nice problem to have, and it's a luxury having that extra week, because I'm not sure Keith would have got up with that hammy if the grand final was next weekend. But now that it's a fortnight's time, he should be good to go. But he's an important player, and he gets a good player in probably Ben Brown the following week.
All right, let's get to some AAMI clangers. We'll get to some more from tonight shortly, but some preliminary final clangers of yesteryear. This is Mickey O, big goal in 2006. This is not the way you deserve to be treated after a big goal.
Big goal, big game player. The celebration, how good. Goes to the bench and then get his foot stood on by a trainer. Just what you need halfway through a prelim final. Ouch, that hurts.
And this is a big game. Subiaco back in the day, 2015, Freo Hawthorn. Stroke of half-time. Jonathan Griffin, big mark on the buzzer. Thinks he's put his team within touching distance of the Hawks at the main break.
Looked good off the boot, drifted late. He was celebrating, working out that he hit the post, and Hawthorn told him all about it. Maybe one of the only highlights for Port Adelaide tonight, Lysett tackle on Vandermeer. I thought at that stage they might get back into the game on the back of the big ruckman doing that. Wasn't the case, and it was eventful for him, just jumping the fence. Plenty of room there for him to have a seat, and Treloar got his Guernsey ripped off, Mitch.
And he thought he still had the footy. He thought he could still keep playing. That would have been interesting if the umpire hadn't blown his whistle. And then another one, Kane. Lucky there's no fans in the front row. Eastern Wood cops one on the outer wing.
Yeah, maybe the fences are a little bit too close to the boundary playing field, but Eastern Wood was really strong. Once again, another great story for him to be there after the injury issues that he's had in a couple of weeks' time.
He looked for his second flag next week. Back to last night, the Demons book another grand final berth, their first since 2000, and it was built off the back of their skipper, our final star, Max Gawn. 5 goals and a stack of other involvements.
one of the best finals performances you will ever see. So 19 disposals, 33 hit out. These tackles, I mean, what a from start to finish, what a complete game it was from Max Gawn. He's got so smart at where to place himself, be it forward or back. That one was touched. He was the only one that knew it. And what about that for a ruckman doing that? Career high 5 goals. His previous best was 3. Not known as a goal kicker, and just absolutely taking the mickey, slotting them from 55 on the run, the celebrations, all of it. The All-Australian captain for a reason, and he's going to be a real threat for the Western Bulldogs. You know, how much time does he spend forward? And then this just topped it off. Late in the third quarter, Gary Rowan's one of the fastest players in the game. He chases him down and wraps him up. What an inspirational leader he is, and what a popular skipper of the premiership team he would be. And it's been a while since we've had one, the All-Australian win a grand final.
And looking at those names, Kane, 15 years since we had Dean Cox as an All-Australian into a flag. Recent teams have been built off crash and bash ruckmen. Not the top handful of ruckmen in the competition, but Max Gawn could buck the trend this year.
And they've got a couple. Luke Jackson, high draft pick as well. I mean, just the list management, the recruiting of Melbourne, dating back, not just recent times with the draft picks, but going right back to, Bailey Fritsch at pick 31 and Rivers and players like that, Petty, just the way that they have built this list and had a plan and gone with it is the reason they're where they are, and probably the reason why Geelong are at with their performance on Friday night as well.
The Demons scored 101 points from stoppages, Kane. It's the most recorded in the last 10 years, and some of these are really alarming for the Cats.
Yeah, Selwood on Petrarca. Selwood just gets the ball goggles on and then bang. I mean, they just explode out of the front of the stoppage, and you can't defend that. So there's no protection there. You've got Oliver Petrarca exploding. Harms here. I mean, who's his direct opponent? Probably Henderson at the back of the stoppage. No one goes to him. This is early in the game. Complete breakdowns. Back 50 stoppage goals just absolutely kill you. 101 points. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Pickett, no one on him. Like the most dangerous small forward on the ground. Not one player on him. He didn't get it, but Petrarca just rips it away. And what a goal-scoring midfielder he has been. So thought it was Viney's best game. You're seeing Brayshaw here. This is Duncan. I mean, he's not going to want to watch this again. Experienced player Mitch Duncan. No care. No accountability, and that ends up in a goal as well with a free kick. Centre bounce stuff was always going to be vital, and Melbourne, almost the strongest in the competition at whipping it away. They're just on the same page. Flick over the back, hits Oliver in stride. Ben Brown plunks a massive contested mark, which he's probably not known for. So it was a phenomenal performance. I mean, it was a confronting performance for anyone else in the competition. But equally tonight, I think the Western Bulldogs will be feeling a little bit better about themselves clearly. So probably the best two teams all year for the majority of it end up playing off in the grand final, and that's not a bad thing.
And a big summer of soul-searching for that Cats midfield. They were without Parfitt and O'Connor, their two best defensive mids, and a lot of those other mids are ball hunters. They had a bit of concern reported today of some virus on a couple of players leading in, but it doesn't make up for this in any stretch.
No, these are season low categories against Melbourne. Kicking efficiency, the stoppage we've spoken about, 42 inside 50s, contested possession differential, that just completely smashed. Now, I've admired Geelong for staying in there, being in the mix for 15 years. No one can do that, and eventually it comes back to get you. I'd much rather be them than someone else who's constantly rebuilding. They've given themselves a chance. The only problem is, Mitch, they just don't have many levers to pull during the trade period because of the draft picks they've traded out, the age of the group, the players that are contracted. How do they find improvement, Geelong? It's going to be really difficult with the situation they're in.
Well, they gave up 3 first-rounders for Jeremy Cameron, another last year for this year's draft for Max Holmes. Their first pick this year is in the 30s. And the names on the right they're the ones we're expecting down the track, if not next year, to replace the names on the left.
Yeah, nothing's really getting me excited about the names on the right, is it? And when you look at the quality of players on the left, I mean, they're irreplaceable as it stands, particularly the 3 in the middle, Selwood, Hawkins and Tui. But the names on the right, they're going to have to get more opportunities, which they haven't been given because of the age and experience of the group. They're not going to find many at the draft because they don't have the pick. So do they back themselves in? They're probably going to have to, but at some point they're going to need to do what North Melbourne have done after falling short and completely gut the list and start again with a significant rebuild that's probably going to take 5, 6, 7 or maybe even more years.
And you have to admire what the Cats have done in terms of backing themselves year after year, giving themselves the best chance. But Hawkins and Selwood, both 34 next year, they're generational players and they've been able to top up around them in recent years. But once those guys start to decline and start to call time on their career, I think that's when it will start to hit the Cats. The big injury out of this one was Stephen May, subbed out late in the game with a right hamstring injury he suffered earlier. This is him speaking to the Melbourne website today.
In your mind, no doubt at all for a grand final in 2 weeks?
Yeah, look, there's no chance I'm missing that. No, of course, we'd have to do what's best for the team, but I'm super confident and in my body. Know my body pretty well now. It's been in really good shape this year. The strength in my hamstrings and my own confidence in my body is at an all-time high. So I think last night was just a bit more of a nervy scare, but it's a business as usual come Monday, I guess.
He was able to play out another quarter or so after that injury, Kane. He's going to be vitally important to take on those Dogs' keys, including Aaron Norton and Tim English.
Yeah, no doubt he'll play. I'm not sure they ever would have put him back onto the ground after he came off, clutching that hammy, strapped it up. Is it back related? Is a bit of tightness? Well, they wouldn't have taken the risk with the game where it was at if there was any doubt. So with the week off, he will be fine. And the matchups defensively are going to be really interesting once again because, Norton and Shaki and the Smalls for the Bulldogs will absolutely test them. But can the Western Bulldogs move the ball through Melbourne's defensive structure that has shut down basically every team this year is going to be a real challenge for them.
And the news today out of the Melbourne camp, Nathan Jones has left Perth, flown back to Melbourne to be with his pregnant partner. She's due to give twins in the next little while. So all the best to Nathan, but he will miss the chance to taste premiership glory. Just one thing as we leave this game, Kane, what did you make of this Clayton Oliver third quarter? Is this a little bit of big-headedness creeping in here?
Well, they've been so humble, haven't they? I'm assuming he's pointing to the scoreboard there. It's probably not a great look, and if Simon Goodwin saw it, he's probably not wrapped. Simon Goodwin was really humble after the game, but just took me back to a prelim final where we were accused of getting ahead of ourselves, and that's probably accurate. We won the grand final by the prelim, I should say, by nearly 90 points, and then got smashed the following week. So it is just a bit of a lesson that making a grand final is an extraordinary achievement, but there is only one winner. And if you don't win it, you may as well be with the other 16 teams that haven't won it. Unfortunately, our game is brutal. They're so hard to win. And any thought of over-celebrating and pointing to the scoreboard in a prelim final is just a little bit dangerous.
All right, here's how it shapes up for the grand final. Western Bulldogs and Melbourne. Kane, the Dogs have gone the long way. Can they do it again?
No, incredible. From what I saw live there tonight, they absolutely can. I just think the week off doesn't help Melbourne. I think they'd love to roll in with the week off that they have already had with the momentum that they've got from Friday night. They'd have an extra day's break. That would be the usual setup. So this is just, it's weird, isn't it, having the week off before the grand final? Absolutely, it suits the Western Bulldogs with their injuries, with their travel, how tired they would be. So I think that week off really evens the contest up. Melbourne will start favourites, and rightly so, but not sure the favourites have won many grand finals recently, so absolutely the Dogs will give themselves a chance.
As we head to our one more thing, the Demons might have a bit of Hollywood on their side. This is from Mark Hamill, Kane, the man who played Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. Maybe a bit of omen with May, the Force be with you.
Yeah, the Force is with the D. So he's tweeting about Melbourne. No, that's handy, isn't it? But I just feel for the Melbourne supporters. I feel for the Western Bulldogs. What an epic grand final it would have been at a packed MCG. Perth will do it justice. Stop the stadium will look amazing. It's going to be a 2-week celebration to get there. It's going to feel like a long time away, but I think we are set up for an epic grand final. As I've said, the best two teams for the majority of the year have qualified for the grand final in different ways. But it's going to be an absolute classic, I reckon.
This is our last show for the year, Kane. Just wanted to give some thank yous as we depart. Our producer extraordinaire, Paul Baston, huge year from him. He's the one putting all the numbers, all the vision together. We can't thank him enough. Our tech assistants and our tech stars, Hugh, Brent, and the Media Hub team. Editors, Lockie, Anthony, Jess, plus all the team behind the scenes, Chris, Zane, Daisy, Chloe, and Hayley. It's been great fun to be a part of the ride for another season here on The Round so far.
Yeah, unbelievable team behind the scenes. Really enjoy doing the show. And to you, Mitch, you're leaving us. You're going to Channel 7. So it's been an absolute pleasure. The last 3 years we've done this show together. No one works harder than you. No one puts more into their craft than what you do, mate. So you're an absolute gun, and I'm going to miss these late Saturday nights with you next year.
No, thanks, Kane. It's been awesome to work with you once again. And who knows, down the track we might get to team up again. Thanks a lot, mate, and enjoy the grand final.
Good on you.